This is Simon Torres, Arsenal supporter of Charm City Gooners. You are listening to DU Football Show, and I'm here to tell you that it could be worse. You could be an Everton fan.
I don't know. We got to win this weekend. You didn't.
I mean, they didn't lose.
Yeah, but they didn't win.
I know Rob's not drinking Malört. I know I'm not drinking Malört.
I know I'm not drinking Malört for once. I wonder who's drinking Malört tonight.
Chelsea.
Is it Young Hot Freshness? I think it's Young Hot Freshness.
Young Hot Freshness.
Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Smell the Malört. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by three common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston. Mr. Graham is away on paternity leave. So as always, we are joined again by Hiram. Hiram, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing lovely. How you doing today?
Yeah, I mean, how lovely can you be doing? You don't know how to fucking score goals.
Look, man, we're trying, okay?
Oh, yeah. Trying goes a long way in the Premier League. Yeah, especially the very calm, supportive fans of Chelsea. They like trying. Trying's
You know, if they don't
really
score next week, there's no goal of the week. Goal of the month.
Yeah, goal of the month. They got to do it in the League Cup. They got to score in order to have a goal of the month, or else they don't have a goal of the month.
I hate it here.
And we're also joined by Robbie as well. Rob, how are you doing, buddy?
Hello, sir.
It's good to see you again. It's been like last season, right, that we had you on with, I think I produced and Sam drove the bus, right?
Early last season, yeah.
Yeah, when Mel was out of town, when she was in Jamaica, I think it was.
Was that one of the times you guys actually saved and posted the show?
Yeah. Unlike the time when we were on the cruise and it wasn't you or I and the show didn't get saved or posted and got lost and then they re-recorded it angrily.
And then I'm like, it's right here.
That was a shit show.
Hey, at least you guys recorded it on FedEx.
Yeah. What's the over-under on how long it takes Sam Graham to call into the show tonight?
I haven't checked my text messages.
I don't even think he sent a bet yet. So Mel, text him and tell him you need a fucking bet and text.
Pat is driving somewhere from somewhere and he's going to try to call in.
Oh, I love it. That is fantastic. But tell Graham to stop worrying about his adult duties with like 3 kids and all that shit and fucking worry about this dumbass show. That's what he needs to be doing. We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can find us wherever you get your pods and, of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Hello to all of you out there watching. If you've got a question, shoot it over to producer Mel. She may read them off as we're going through the show.
I was corrected. It's not just Christian by Christian.
Okay, very good. Heard. Well, look, Christian, you need to worry about your own personal struggles about how nobody can spell your name correctly.
I was going to say, Christian, Christen.
Yeah, exactly. All the different, or when he got Krisjon, Christian. So you just worry about your name being spelled correctly there, killer. We'll go ahead and drive the bus here just fine. We'll be all right. So, should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Hiram, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Well, you can, of course, follow us on all our socials at DU Football Show. And, of course, if you want to email us, reach us at dufootballshow@gmail.com.
Very good. Oh, there was a struggle about if the .com was going to be said or not because Young Hot Freshness don't say .com anymore. Us fucking boomers, apparently, are the only ones who say it.
What are you talking about? I'm 50. I just look good because I'm black.
I'm the only one that works in the wine and spirit industry, but everybody here has a deep, passionate love for everything distilled spirits. I know Rob, as well as a big whiskey guy, such as myself, also a fellow lover of gin. He takes part in the gin binges when we do as well. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're drinking tonight, because as the red-blooded Americans we are, we've got to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Robbie, what whiskey are we having?
I believe the same one as last week, Sweetens Cove Kennessee.
No, we had something different last week, but this is what we had. You're right.
Oh, my bad. All right.
Yeah, good.
It's a Kennessee because of Kentucky and Tennessee bourbons.
Mm-hmm.
It's finished in toasted sugar maplewood. And it comes in at 110.7 proof.
Does not drink that at all. Does not have that kind of spice to it one bit. Now, it's two different bourbons, right? And normally if you blend two different bourbons together, you can just go ahead and call it a bourbon. But the problem being is the blend and then the wood that they finish it in doesn't, so you can't just call it bourbon whiskey. But you can say that it's bourbon because it's bourbons that are going into it. So, but yeah, it's famously known. Everybody knows about, Tennessee whiskey, which is the sugar maple, mellowed a la Jack Daniels, George Dickel, all of those guys. And that's the main difference, because other than that, a Tennessee whiskey is essentially a bourbon. It's 51% corn. It's aged in brand new American white oak. It's distilled twice. It follows all the same rules. Also, geographical delineage means something, right? So Tennessee whiskey has to be made in the state of Tennessee. You can do a sugar maple mellowed whiskey outside of Tennessee, but you can't call it a Tennessee whiskey because it's not made there. Yeah, this is a lovely little whiskey. It was on last year's top 20 list, which, by the way, all you Patreon listeners, we've come up with a date. We're probably going to announce it next week to all of you on the Soundcheck to let you know when we're going to be doing the whiskey show here at the house.
Ray knows because, Ray's our favorite P1 listener.
Congratulations yet again on the nuptials, Ray. Hiram, I'll make sure you know the date as well. It'll be a Saturday night if you want to come over and try a bunch of fucking whiskey. And Robbie, I always invite you and you never show up. So how about you fucking show up to this one?
Done.
Very good. I love it. What else should we always do when drinking, Rob?
Do it responsibly.
Yeah. Unlike 20-year high school reunions, then we don't do it responsibly at all.
You got to kill time somehow.
I wasn't nervous about seeing anybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, you were perfectly smooth. Let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah, there were some big score lines. There were some massive victories, and some of those games made it to Oso because why? It's got to be the North London Open, the show. It's just not even a question. It's got to be the North London. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 2. This was a game of twos, boys.
Yeah.
Saka, responsible for both Arsenal goals. Romero, responsible for both Arsenal goals. Son, responsible for both Tottenham goals. And 2 comebacks from Tottenham in this match. Rob, we go to you first as a Gunner supporter. What were your thoughts on the match?
I guess the answer to that question changed for me when I was watching the game, because it's hard to not think about the amount of injuries that are stacking up. But I feel like we had the front foot for a majority of the game, and we just have guys like Kai Havertz that can't finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Chelsea guy likes that.
Yeah, I mean it's I think we deserved to win that game. Just fell short, and I think that was Gabriel Jesus' first start.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been nothing but positive since coming back, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also hasn't hit the back of the net in the Premier League yet.
Right.
One game.
Right.
Get it. So I'm not worried about that just yet. But everything else between Trossard going off,
Mm-hmm.
Martinelli, now Rice,
Mm-hmm.
Timber for this season.
Yeah.
Party and training.
Right.
Like
just guys are dropping like flies. It's not helping.
Yeah. So that's been difficult, but yeah.
So what is the word on Declan Rice? Because it was interesting. At halftime, he gets subbed off, and it didn't appear he was hurt. And it actually looked like he was kind of pissed off because he really wasn't impacting the game the way he normally does. So
yeah,
it felt like it was actually a tactical move. Which
so
was
from the
big.
team, they're staying back. But I know his calf was also wrapped
Mm-hmm.
on the sideline. So I don't know if he just haven't. Who knows what it is?
Right. Yeah.
They haven't said anything as far as the timetable either. So I don't know if that's promising or if they're just being cautious.
Yeah. Well,
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
What seemed kind of interesting is that the match did have a ton of drama and a ton of excitement, but honestly, from a third-party perspective, wasn't a very good match. I mean, there was, like I said, excitement. There was goals. A lot of those goals came from mistakes. Like even the ones that Son scored, like there was the bad pass from Jorginho.
Jorginho,
There was a ton of mistakes in the game, and then when it seemed like at this point at about the 70th minute that like both sides were just like, oh, it's 2-2.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
And it was just like, particularly for Arsenal, and that leads me into my next question. Is this cause for concern? How kind of like there hasn't been a loss, but there hasn't been an impressive victory. It's like, yeah, great. You beat Everton at Everton. You haven't done that in a while. You didn't have a lot of chances. Like, it wasn't like it was a good, like, there's been no real impressive match so far.
Yeah, no.
We'll say United. We'll say the United match was impressive. But other than that, like...
Well, I don't know. I would tend to disagree.
Okay.
I think the showing that we had at PSV midweek was more than strong.
Okay, I'm talking about the...
No, I get that. I'm just saying the form of Arsenal as a whole, I think I'm speaking to more than anything. I think the injuries obviously have taken a toll on key positions that were very strong, that we now look to a guy like Tomiyasu now that...
Right. You're not expecting him to play all the time. You're expecting him to be a bit player, not a full-time player.
Right. But anyways, I don't think that we've hit a place in a match where I felt like we were going to lose. So that's good. Because I know that attitude was very strong a couple of years ago, where we'd come off strong and then mistake after mistake, or our defense wasn't the strongest. I had doubts of where we would be in a match. Whereas now, depending on who's on the pitch, I kind of have a good idea of how we're gonna. We've been pretty consistent. Is all.
Then would you? It sounds more like we're saying then that because we've been critical when City hasn't had a fast start or hasn't looked impressive, because City's supposed to walk all over everybody for nothing. And the way you guys started last season, I think the expectation is just okay, well, the best two teams are Arsenal and City, and they're going to fucking annihilate everybody.
Yeah, that's not the case. Yeah.
And you guys are winning, but it's not impressively. It's not like it was just this, onslaught like it was the year before. Do you just think it's maybe a growth in the club, that they're learning how to win scrappy, and they're learning how to not give up on matches and find a way?
I think they proved that last year. We had quite a few
didn't prove it at the end of the season.
Well... but there were quite a few matches that came down to the wire, and we were able to pull it off last year, which I think is something that has changed at least the fans' perception of their game, knowing that they can do that. So, I mean, look at the Manchester United game. 97th and 100th minute we score.
Right.
So, I mean, the style of play that we have, we always have the opportunity to score. I don't think that's ever true. That hasn't been an issue for us this year.
Very true.
Even with different pieces of the puzzle, I feel like the system that we have is very strong. It's just the being able to keep the right players in that position,
right,
to keep that cohesive unit doing what it does best. Fair. And that was last year up until a certain point.
Now, moving the attention a little bit more to Spurs, they went ahead and put Brendan Johnson up at the top, not Richarlison after Richarlison's great performance off the bench, and they moved Son back out to the outside. Son seems to be able to score from anywhere, right? He's scored when he was up top, he's scored when he's on the side, and it feels like he's getting back to the player he was 2 seasons ago, because last season, let's face it, other than a hat trick in one game, he was woeful at best. Like, he really wasn't putting up the offensive numbers. So I'll direct this first to you, Hiram. Do we think Spurs are better off without Harry Kane?
100%.
Yeah.
Reason why I say that is because they're more constructive as a unit compared to like the past few seasons, where it's like, okay, so we still have Kane up top. We just really just got to give the ball to him and let him do all the work. But you have to realize you also had Son at the time. Kulusevski, he's underrated, I would say, in the Prem overall, not just as a winger, but as a forward altogether. And then, of course, you have the playmaking styles of Maddison, who can do whatever he can in the midfield. So it's obvious, like, they crafted something that's more suited for them this season. Like, say Kane stayed another year, I don't think they would have the same strong start as they had this year. Thus far, at most, the goals will definitely be there because, of course, Harry Kane, he's going to put the ball behind the net,
right?
Or ball in the net. But at the same time, like, he's not going to be the same player who's going to lead them to the same way as like Son or Madison has, or even what Basuma's done in the midfield. Like Basuma actually shocked me more this season as a whole, because I'm like, I did not expect them to play the way he did.
That was the one I was going to bring up. Is I think ultimately is that their midfield just much stronger with Sarr, Basuma, and Madison, because Sarr seems to be able to play that box-to-box guy really well, do a lot of the thankless work. Basuma's perfectly good as the holding midfielder, but still has the ability to create, where like Højbjerg is a fantastic defensive midfielder, don't get me wrong, but he's a one-trick pony. He is I'm a third sweeper, and I'm going to fuck you up if you try to come past me, right? Where Basuma has that kind of aggression, and he gets yellow cards and stuff like that, but he also seems to have a very good creative first touch moving forward once he wins the ball. And the two of them doing that allows Madison to do what Madison does, which is just create in front of the net, and it's working, and it doesn't really seem to matter who the striker is. It doesn't need to be Harry Kane. Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, they're all getting goals. Rob, I know this is going to pain you a lot, but go ahead and give us your opinions on Spurs so far this season.
I think James Madison is huge. I think 9 times out of 10, that's not a goal in any other scenario or combination of players. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it was a very classy goal. I hated it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
It was actually, that's one of the things that I think Arsenal needs to be a little bit more. I mean, William Saliba is a monster. Mm-hmm. And I think that was just one small lapse in the defense that allowed that goal to happen. Because the space that he had, Son had to make that touch, because I'll call it a touch. It wasn't a shot. It was very small, and he was given the opportunity to make that touch.
Just put it away.
So I think I see that and that, but I mean, that's just the quality of Spurs, to be honest. I mean, let's be real. They had possession that game. I think they won possession that game. Mm-hmm. Which I think we go back and forth with that between them, but obviously the Arsenal way is to control the ball and hold on to the ball.
The last few seasons, it's been all you on the possession side of things, and not because also the former Spurs managers have been with Conte and Jose, these very even Nino when they had him for the Espirito Santo when they had him for a little while, all very defensive minded coaches, and it seems like this coach wants to try to let them kind of create a little bit more. Yep. Because don't look now, they're one of 4 undefeated teams. Yep. And at the start of the season, we would have all said, yeah, probably City, probably Arsenal, and probably Liverpool are probably all undefeated by this point. But Spurs, that sets up next week. Spurs versus Liverpool is a massive fucking match. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like Spurs deserve to be in the conversation of the top 4. Like they deserve to kind of be there, where other times they've been there and you're just like, okay, well, you got a few really talented players, but it feels like it can all fall apart at any moment, and it typically did. This somehow feels a little different for them. It really does for me as well. Now, for Arsenal, when you're looking at everything, this is now 2 draws in the first 6, and if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, a.k.a. City, you're not doing yourself any favors. It now makes it, in a couple of weeks, you got to fucking beat them. In your building, you got to beat them. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think our next match is Brentford midweek, and then we have Bournemouth on the weekend, Champions League,
and then City. You get them in your building.
Yeah, so our injury situation is probably going to get worse with the amount of games that we have leading up to that.
Well, they're going to be missing a key cog, which will be interesting.
Roger,
and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we get to it too. But it's what do you think, Hiram? You think Spurs are in it? You think they can be in the discussion this year?
From what I've seen this season so far, I will say that it's clear to me that London's top teams is Spurs and Arsenal. Yeah. And that pains me to say, even as a Chelsea fan.
Can we screenshot that?
But I had to be real. Like Spurs, I've even said this, I think last week, like Spurs probably outside of City might be like one of the best teams in the Prem right now. But to say they're going to be top 4, it's also still a wait and see because, again, it is Spurs. They might falter around December, but by the way they're playing in the recent run of form and no European football, it's looking like a top 4, top 3 situation for them.
So the moral of the story is Spursy. Since we're all in the room, let's go ahead and chat about the rest of the host team that played this weekend. One feels satisfied, one feels relieved, and one must be starting to lose their patience. Everton 3, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0. Holy shit, we fucking won a game. I forgot what that felt like. We fucking won a game. Oh man, that was pretty massive for Everton. And honestly, watching it, it was a good team win. It felt like Everton's looked good so far this season, but been on the bad end of results, aka Fulham and Wolves. And then they've looked like dog shit against, say, someone like Villa, who just kicked the ever-loving crap out of them. But now there's been, for Everton, this seemed like everything they've been trying to do is actually finally starting to work.
Okay, keep telling yourself that.
Fuck you.
I'm just like they're all umming and ahhing.
I was looking for nice words.
Everybody's looking for a power cord for Rob. I'm going to go get the extension cord real quick.
No. I'm good. I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're sure you're good?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
good.
All right. Everybody got all flummoxed for a moment.
That's why
We were just talking good about Everton.
we didn't know what to say.
Give me a weird feeling.
Everton looked good. They
Yeah,
did.
it's really fucking hard to win at Brentford.
Yeah, and it's funny because worth mentioning for Brentford ain't won at home yet this season. They've had 4 games, 3 draws and a loss now, and we'll get on to them in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, Everton, just a nice solid team win, a couple of set piece goals. Worth mentioning, Decore scored that first goal, and then he put the one off the post where you're like, fuck. And then right after he put the one off the post, Brentford equalizes on the only mistake the Everton defense makes, which for me, it's just like, fuck, of course. Like, this is how this is going to go today, right? Mm-hmm. But then on that second corner, worth mentioning the keeper, the new keeper from Germany for the Bees, this isn't the first time he's been having troubles with corners. And it wasn't like Decore was on top of him, keeping him out. He just got occupied a defender and was able to move with that defender so the keeper couldn't come off of his line. Tarkowski had an open fucking header. I mean, that's inexplicable.
One of the
at this
easiest
level.
ones you'll get. Yep.
Yeah, you should not. It should not be that easy ever. And then, of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, sans mask. I like that. He wasn't wearing his Zorro Batman mask thing, and 5 holes at the end of the match for the third goal, which was nice to see. And
I was reading the comments on the highlights of that game, and a funny one was one of your supporters was scared of Decore's celebration. He's like, he might twist his shoulder and be out another 6 weeks.
Yeah, he went
he
right
jumped over DCL and like, landed awkwardly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one thing that certainly gives with Beto, you essentially have the same player between Beto and DCL. Tall, athletic, can win long balls. It's kind of like what Dyche needs in a striker. And people are kind of screaming for the two of them to play together. And it's like, they're the exact same player. Why do you want to go to a 4-4-2 and limit your width? Like,
right.
Go with one of them, and whichever one's doing the scoring, the other one, that one starts, and the other one, let them have real competition. Do what Newcastle is doing with Colin Wilson and Isaacs. Like,
right.
Look, competition's a good thing that makes those players work harder on the pitch. It absolutely
keeps them hungry for goals. Like,
now for Everton, the next couple coming up is home to Luton and home to Bournemouth. Could there be a light at the end of the tunnel for Everton? Could this start to get them out of it? And I'm not saying that this team's going to be battling for a European spot, but they seem to have the talent to be like 12th or 13th, like a normal, quote, Sean Dyche team.
Yeah, I just want to, so what does it feel like to be on match week 7 and you have such a big stretch of games coming up to prove that you're not in the relegation fight again.
It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And we could have helped ourselves. I don't know, by beating Fulham at home, beating Wolves at home, like losing to fucking Arsenal. Fine, you lost one of the best fucking teams in the league, and frankly, you played them really well, and it took a worldly for them to beat you. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Be happy with that result, as happy as you can be with a loss, right?
Yeah.
And you go, okay, we go to Villa Park. We never win at Villa Park. They spanked us harder than they should have. We should be disappointed in that. But at the end of the day, not bad, right?
Yeah.
Got the draw at Sheffield United. That's just go there and don't lose when you're in that bot. But you look at those two games and then you say, is Everton in a relegation battle? You have to say yes, because win the games you're supposed to fucking win. And of course, we ain't played those games yet.
Right.
So we could lose to Luton and lose to Bournemouth, and we're looking at ourselves at last place, and everybody's going, oh, yeah, Everton's going down. So
You can't give Luton their first win.
no.
I don't think they will.
No.
But
Who will?
I
Who's going
think-
to be Luton's first W?
I don't think it's going to be this week, because they also have Burnley, and I think Burnley's desperate for a win, too, and I think Burnley's going to finally get their first win.
Why should it be Wolves?
Well, no, that's who they just played. It should have been Wolves, and they didn't.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
didn't.
right.
Like, they should have, and it was
Watch it be like Man City or something like
something
that.
really
Of course.
City at Kenilworth Road 1-0. Oh my God!
Didn't they already do that? Didn't they already play?
City and Luton?
Yeah. Have they played yet?
I don't think they did.
Not at Kenilworth. No, they haven't played each other yet. Not at Kenilworth. I
Oh,
know
no, that was a rescheduled match.
no. The
Okay.
rescheduled match is this Burnley match. It was City played Burnley to open the season, beat them 3-0 at Turf Moor.
I thought City and Luton had their match rescheduled too. Because they were still figuring out the home stand for that.
No,
or
the
away stand.
only one that's missing is the Burnley match. So
Gotcha.
So if they played each other, they played them at the City grounds is where they played them. So, and they think they might have honestly, it all becomes a blur when you start
They
doing the
haven't.
show.
I just looked in.
Okay.
They haven't. Yep.
So if you would have told me they had, I'd been like, yeah, sure. Let's turn our attention though to Brentford. As I just already alluded, they've had 4 matches at home, and while they're a hard team to beat in their building, they have had to come back all 3 times in their draws, and they've got the one loss now, and then they got a draw and a loss and a draw and a win on the road. They're not off to a very good start, like at all. And Mbeumo's scoring goals, but they're also giving up goals. Do we need to start being worried about the Bees, perhaps? Is Ivan Toney that big of a loss? Is losing their keeper to Arsenal, is that big of a loss? Like, you got to wonder.
I was just literally about to propose the same question to you, because like I was thinking, like, with the loss of Tony, like it seemed like their confidence completely shattered, because like they don't have like that absolute goal scorer to put it. They don't have that goal scorer that they used to have in Tony, and then of course with Mariah down to Arsenal, they don't have like that. I would say like that, of course, top level keeper that they need to, of course, keep him within the game.
The new keeper is a very good shot stopper. He's horrific at corners, and they've been scored now on a couple of corners. There was 2 against Everton, and I think it's been 2 before that. So that's a big problem. It was like a problem to do in comparisons. De Gea with United was an insanely good shot stopper, but sucked ass coming off of his line, and that was always a problem. And that seems to be and teams, especially when you have a team, say like an Everton type that will live and die by set pieces, they will attack the fuck out of you to purposely get corners and make that keeper try to make saves, right? But they've spaced out goals. It's not like they haven't scored goals to start the season, right? They only were shut out by Newcastle 1-0. Everybody else they've scored goals against. So the goals are there, but is it because it's not the talismanic point man? Like, this team feels like it should be a lot like Brighton. Like, they've always been a selling club. Like, Ollie Watkins, Neil Maupay, Saeed Benrahma. These are all guys who played for Brentford in the championship. Like, they seem to always figure out the next guy. And this season, there's got to be some cause for concern for the start of this season. Wouldn't you think, Rob?
Yeah, I definitely agree. They last year, those fixtures, they would have found a way to win.
God, yeah.
I mean, maybe not. Palace had been in good form, but the Bournemouth game, they should have won. And their only really good showing was against Fulham.
Yeah.
And Fulham.
Right. Yeah. It seems odd to me, and I start to wonder. It's I still think that there's plenty of teams worse than them, and I would say my team included is worse than them. But sometimes confidence, how that just will start to fuck with you, and if things aren't going your way, next thing you know, you're in a dogfight and you're trying to figure out a way to get out of it. And we'll get to it. We'll get to it here in just a second as we talk about your lovely club, sir. So I will say the following: it was a frantic as shit match.
Oh my gosh,
the Chelsea Villa match. I mean, it was pretty fucking insane. Mel, if you want to join us now, you can. You don't have to. We're talking about your team, but I did want to say the following. I think Outcast said it best when they said, "Sorry, Nick Jackson. Ooh, I can't score goals. I ever meant to make Hiram cry. I apologize a million times."
He practiced that a lot, Hiram.
Have I told you guys I hate it here?
I thought of that at the start of the game, and all I was thinking the entire time was, Nick Jackson, do not score a goal.
Fuck you.
But I mean, that's okay. Todd Bowley, he's already got it figured out. He's already making an offer for Ivan Toney when the fucking transfer window's closed. Yeah, he's already made an offer for Ivan Toney.
Why am I not surprised? We have a fucking bonehead idiot as our rich owner for the team. You know what? Okay, let's talk about the game first.
Okay.
So, one, I really think that Nick Jackson should probably come off the bench for sure. The reason why he didn't, I think, is definitely because Broja was definitely off the still coming off his injury, and he's still recovering from that, even though he has been training for like pretty much ever since preseason ended. But at the same time, I think possibly the next best effort for this, in order to get Jackson to be like, hey, you need to get in position, you need to actually put some shit in the goal. Put Sterling up there in that top, and then you have all the wingers to play that spot where he can replace Sterling. And of course, I've always said, like, play Enzo back and put someone else in that 10 role. But at the same time, like, you have the different positions to mold into that 3-4-1 or 4-2-3, whatever the fuck Poch is running right now. I don't know.
Right.
But still.
he's seeing the bottle being waved by producer Mel right now.
At least your loss was to another Big Six club.
I'll say I would respect that. I would expect it was at least to Villa. So I'm not mad that we lost to Villa.
Scrappy. It was a scrappy match.
I will say though, I really don't know if it's biased, but I really don't think that was a red card.
100% was not a red card.
It's definitely not a red card at all.
It was called a red card, so therefore it was.
Well,
no complaints from us. VAR, always right.
No, he fucking got all ball, and the follow through hit his ankle. That's not a malicious tackle.
I think what we've come to, though, now to expect with VAR on those kind of fouls is if there is a clear image of the spikes up into the leg, they don't even think about but like you said, he got the ball.
Then why do we fucking judge offsides by a cunt hair?
That's what they've been doing, and that's what. Yeah. And the minute I saw that on the ankle, the spikes up, you're just like, it's gonna be a red.
It looked like it hurt.
It's gonna be a red.
It wasn't a red.
I will admit, at least a yellow would have been suffice. I would have been okay with getting a yellow.
Well, yellow was the initial. And
I was fine with that, but at the same time, I'm like, he got ball, but that's initial contact. Yes, the follow through was clipping his ankle, but at the same time, he touched the fucking ball. Like that should be
a hard challenge. It's not a red.
Yeah,
yellow should have stayed.
I don't disagree, but knowing what the system is now and what they look at, it's gonna be a red. That's the minute you got that, it looks like the foot is going through the guy's leg there, and the foot is completely up, which it was. It's gonna be a fucking red.
And now because of that, when we face Fulham, we don't have Nico Jackson anymore because he keeps fucking complaining to the refs all the time now. And now Malört, our only remaining right back, is out now, and Reece James is still recovering from injury. So, Poch, what the fuck we doing?
And then on the left, he won't fucking play Chilwell. And it's like he brings him in off the bench. It's like Chilwell offers the only width to your team.
But I can kind of understand why he does that, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, of course, watching other shows trying to understand, like, get that perspective and everything. I see why he's putting Colwell in that left back spot because, of course, he wants a more defensive role for that left back. Chilwell is definitely more attacking. He's definitely roamed more than usual. So he's going to go ahead and be able to push up and be essentially a left winger, which is basically what Pacha's been playing in as.
Right.
But in order for Chilwell to stay in that left back spot, he needs to be more defensive. He is a defensive back, but he's more attacking based. Same way as Reece James as well. But again, you need one of those wing backs to push up.
Agreed.
And then the other one stay back. That's why we have essentially like the back three of Colwell, Diassi, and Silva, which definitely could change up. I don't know if Chalobah is still out with injury or if he's just like on the bench or whatever. I would definitely love to see Chalobah back in, but at the same time, like, I don't know. There definitely has to be a better system put in place for that.
Mel,
Yes.
Ollie Watkins finally gets a goal.
I mean, he gets lots of goals. It was just first
in
time
the
in a while.
Right.
It's because he did his kegels.
Well, I think we talked about that competition, and Duran's been coming on and getting some goals, and then in the midweek for Europe,
And Cash.
they gave Duran the start. So I think that really kind of it helps motivate a player.
Well, we have
You could lose your spot if you're not
a lot of
performing.
gentlemen with the ability to fuck.
Yes, you do.
I also have to say the douchebag Martinez had a hell of a game.
Oh,
yeah.
both,
He did.
both keepers. Sanchez made a couple of worldies. That
There
one
was
off
a
of
few that we
He
should
is my,
have
Dude,
scored.
that was
he's
a
my
unreal
favorite
goal.
signing this season. Even though out of the fucking 20 signs we made, he's my favorite so far.
Yeah.
And of course, I haven't seen him in Kunku because of course he's out, but
Right.
we'll see how he does when he comes back.
There was
Right.
one that was just stunning. I was like, yeah, that should have been a goal. But hands off to him.
He had one dead to rights. Chilwell had him dead to rights in the second half, and he made a dandy of a fucking save. It was, both keepers played their asses off. That game should have yielded more goals than it did. And
That pause, ladies and gentlemen, was Sam not wanting to say their dicks off because that's normally the phrase.
yeah, well, and also though that lack of goal production helped me hit my bet, so I'm very good about that.
Oh my gosh. Commenter from the Facebook group says, is he talking about that ducky from Lambert 4 Time now that plays for Chelsea? Dinosaur looking ass dude.
Yes, that one.
That's Sam Graham.
That's Sam Graham.
Of course it
Absolutely.
is.
Sam Graham.
Sam Graham also says, Hiram, get that Malört down. Yeah, enjoy it. We all have that season where Malört becomes enjoyable through sheer volume consumed.
I don't appreciate how you say get that Malort down, yo.
I think you should not appreciate that he's predicting a volume of Malört this season.
Give me the fucking drink. All right, Chelsea, get your shit together, please. For my black ass. Tastes like wax.
So we're gonna chase it with some jerky.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what the
The non-sponsored jerky.
yes, that's what young hot freshness do. That's
I told you I'm 50.
that's what's popping. That's what the kids be doing on the drink. Shots of Malort chased with teriyaki flavored jerky. Rob, that's what's popping right now.
I hate the more that I can't open this damn package, the worse it tastes gets.
I'm going to give you honorary PG County citizenship.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, he's Glen Burnie, so...
Yeah, same thing.
It is PG County of the North Anne Arundel.
No, Brooklyn is
Brooklyn. Oh yeah, Brooklyn. that's pretty bad when Glen Burnie goes, oh, but Brooklyn. He's laughing, but he's got a mouthful of jerky, so he can't say anything.
Does this help?
I tell you, Rob, how long do you think Chelsea is going to be patient with Pochettino without getting results right now?
Not patient at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is interesting because
if their current form continues, it's a relegation battle.
right, but at some point you got to look at what's going.
Keep going, y'all good. Y'all good. I was just making sure I wasn't chewing in everyone's ear.
Now, what's noticeable about it though is that like they've revamped the team now 3 separate times for 3 separate managers, and at some point you gotta let the manager have a fucking chance. And it's like if anybody's going to work well with young players, Pochettino's one of the fucking best at it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do you just go, look, wherever we finish this year, as long as it's not like fucking 15th place, we don't give a shit, right? If they're 10th, we don't care.
Yeah.
Just fucking just get this right. Let us see that we have a team, and then we'll buy the last couple of pieces you need, because if there's one thing we know about Bowley, and we know this from him as the owner of the Dodgers, he does not care about a luxury tax. He does not care if there's a fine. He'll fucking pay it. He does not fucking care. And I think we all know with financial fair play, they're not going to deduct points on the big clubs. They're not going to do that to them. They won't. They're just not.
Or else they got it.
Because they need them. They need them for the TV. So, and I think Bowley knows that, and Bowley's going to call him on their fucking bluff. So fine, find me $100 million. I have that. I'll pay it. I don't give a shit. Oh, I've got Uncle Saudi money backing me now too. So now I could spend even more. So I almost feel like for them, it's like, run the course, be patient, figure out what you need, because you know the owner's going to buy you whatever fucking piece you need. And I mean, you as a Nationals fan, you know that firsthand from dealing with the Dodgers.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, Arsenal went through that as well after Arsene Wenger left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we went through a number of managers without given no time at all to implement a system.
Some real
Put
shitty,
their culture
some
on
really
the
shitty
squad,
signings that
like,
cost you a lot of money too.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Maybe Poch is the guy that is for us, our Arteta, that was able to, dig his heels in and make a positive, noticeable change. But
I think
Arteta didn't start like he has at Chelsea, so it's hard to. That's why I say, like, yeah, I think maybe he might be on the fence, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's.
I think it's more because, like,
how low can you go, I guess, is the question.
I think it's more of like Bowley expects immediate success just because he knows Chelsea has, of course, like I think it's supposed to be like in the historically best team in London or something like that. He expects, okay, we're going to have that same success. We're just going to bring in all the young prospects that's immediately going to bring us, like, not revenue, but more wins and more trophies, which will in turn turn into revenue. But at the same time, you have to realize it takes time and patience to let things go through. When we got Graham Potter last year, I was like, okay, interesting, but let's see how this goes. Of course, it didn't pan out the way we all expected to. And one, that may be because of injuries, and it also could just be just lack of play that was going on for the team overall. But at the same time, Bowley is expecting that immediate success and thinking, like, okay, 10 games in, we had to have 10 wins, no draws, no losses. That's not how it happens in the Prem. It takes a total system for it to go through. I'm pretty sure with Pep, it didn't take him like the immediate success to get that trouble. He got his trouble like what, almost 10 years until his term in City though. So it's obviously going to take that time for him to get to, for Poch to get to that point where he's going to become that next level. For me, I'm always still trying to figure out why the fuck we fired Tuchel, which is still, I still understand, but I kind of don't at the same time. But it's more of just, it's definitely politics for that. But at the same time, as far as a game plan and managing perspective, just give Poch a chance. Like, let him play out to January. If you don't see he's fit till then that's when you make the move. That's my honest opinion, I think.
Yeah, I think it's easy to allow an American owner to be so ignorant to think that you should be 10-0-0 after 10 weeks of the Premier League. When you have 20 teams that are not, if you have, like, for instance, Luton Town, their odds of staying up are very low. They're still fighting every game to stay up. And in American sports, you don't necessarily have that.
Yeah. As you said, Rob, Pochettino has impacted Chelsea in a very important way. They forgot how to score fucking goals. Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Manchester City 2, Forest 0, Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton 1, Wolves 1, Man U 1, Burnley 0, Brighton 3, Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 3, West Ham 1, Newcastle 8, at least it wasn't 9 like Southampton, Sheffield 0. Man City dominate early, and then Rodri gets a boneheaded red card at the start of the second half, and it wasn't only till then that Forest seemed to finally come out of their shell, but even then, this was very comfortable for City.
I think it's because they see, you have to be real, Rodri's like the cog in their machine that pretty much like turns the whole wheel as to making everything go for a City. You pretty much played through Rodri, but not in the sense like he's like the central presence for it. Like, yeah, right. He's their defensive midfield and he's playing the center and he's making all the dishes and, of course, scoring the goals whenever he can. But at the same time, that is a massive loss for City. Like, outside of Haaland and maybe De Bruyne, he was their best player last season. Mm-hmm. So you have to think, like, with him gone, there's possible chances for us to advance and maybe get through that midfield easier than it has been throughout the first half.
Oh, I mean, it's huge. It's huge because the third game, like, the next two, they should be okay. But that third game is at the fucking Emirates against Arsenal. That's fucking massive. That is, especially if hopefully Declan Rice is not too terribly injured and you have Declan Rice. Where you've lost to them the last two times last season was because you didn't control the midfield. If there's no Rodri, there's no De Bruyne, you will control that midfield against them.
Yeah.
And that'll be big. That'll be very big. Forrest seemed to want to try to play this like, we're just going to put everybody behind the ball and hopefully you don't score. And then they scored and they went, well, we're going to keep everybody behind the ball and hopefully you don't score again. And then they scored again. And it's just not a good recipe. You need to be cautious of, a team like City, but you still have to keep them honest.
You have to put pressure on them.
You have to counterattack. If you win that ball, you need to quickly go. You got to try to earn some set pieces where you can get everybody up. And that's, now it didn't work out well for Fulham, but in the first half it did. And they played them tough. But this is what you got to do to them. And fuck, I just don't see who's better than City right now. Just watching the way they're playing as a whole, and everybody's missing people. They're missing people too. And they're still just seemingly just working everybody. Doesn't it seem that way?
I mean, to be fair, they have two starting squads.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Moving on, Palace and Fulham. Fulham had the better chances to convert, but Fulham ain't converting. Like, they're just not. And honestly, when it's all said and done, isn't this kind of what we expected out of this match? Either like a 0-0 or a 1-1, maybe somebody wins 1-0. I mean, the game kind of lived up to exactly what we expected it to be.
I mean, Fulham hasn't been as convincing this year as they have last year, obviously. Mm-hmm. So to see it go 0-0 the way it did, especially against Palace, like you said, it's expected. Like, Palace, usual, finished in 11th, same year. It's a tradition at this point. Yeah. There's nothing really more you can expect from that.
I tell you, the fun thing is, it's a good thing for Fulham is they got the West London derby coming up, and they took 4 points off their rivals last year, and their rivals can't score goals, so I think they'll be okay on Monday, right? Just kicking a man while he's down. Luton and Wolves. I got to tell you, interesting stat that Graham actually gave to me. Luton right now, at the point they are in the season, if they did this every 6 games for the remainder of the season, they will end up on 7 points. That is 4 worse than Derby County's piss poor year of 11. If ever there's a game you're going to win, you're at home against a team that's having a difficulty scoring and probably going to be in the relegation battle. And they went down to 10 men. And then you go down to them.
Half, yeah.
And then you go down to them. You go down 1-0 to them. I mean, is Luton just hapless?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm looking at their schedule and going, well, maybe they can beat Sheffield at home. Like, who else are they going to beat? They can get some draws, sure, but who else are they going to actually beat? I don't think they're going to beat anybody.
Yeah, I haven't seen them too much this year, but given the results, it's hard to say. They could
the red
maybe
card,
Chelsea.
Yeah,
later in the year.
Probably beat Chelsea. Yeah, Probably beat Chelsea at the bridge. The thing that's worth mentioning, the red card that happened. Yes, the Luton player goaded him and was holding him on the ground, but at the end of the day, don't kick a dude in the ding ding. Like, you know what's coming.
Yep.
And for Wolves, I think it's become very apparent this drink is stirred by Neto. Like it's Neto. What he does will be 100% how Wolves do.
Yeah.
And if they survive or not is really based on the performances of Neto, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Man U and Burnley. I mean, it's a win. Should we be impressed?
That match was awful to watch.
But hey, big thing worth noting. Onana did make an actual save. he dove and knocked the ball away with both hands. It was really impressive. It was the only time he was called on, and you're just like, oh wow, great!
Good job, buddy.
Look at that, doing your fucking job.
I mean, he's definitely not a dude I'd walk up to and want to fight, though.
Oh, fuck no.
Well, now I am interested to see what they're going to be like as the side gets healthy, because they're definitely missing a ton of people right now. And getting Casemiro back's huge.
Yeah.
But for them, depth is everything, and the ability to rotate players is everything. And when they don't have that, you can tell they're really hurting.
Yep.
Gotta say, dominating from the Seagulls, right? Like, even though they went down 1-0 to the Cherries on a bad mistake from their keeper, to just decided to go, oh, hey, my team wears blue and white stripes. I'm going to pass it to the guy that's wearing the red and black stripes. But after that, your boy, don't worry, Bully's going to buy him for $150 million next season. Matoma with a brace and those two goals were fucking beauts, man. That tap in that he did, that he curved around the keeper, and then that header too. Oh, they were a couple of beauties.
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at the 150 million joke.
You're laughing because you know it's true.
It is.
It'll have to be deferred over 355 years, but it's going to be 150 million because that's how Bowley rolls.
Especially if it's coming from Brighton too.
Oh God, yeah, he's going to spend the money on that. And worth mentioning too here is looking at the top 8 clubs. It's like, all right, so you've got the 4 undefeateds with City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham, but Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, and West Ham are the rest of that top 8. It's going to be very hard for teams like United and Chelsea, if they don't get their shit together, to be in the conversation for Europe.
I was about to say, that sounded so weird without hearing those two names in there at all.
Yeah. and I mean, West Ham, and we'll go ahead and talk about them now with their loss to Liverpool. We know what West Ham's going to be. They're going to be defensive. They're going to counterattack. It's not going to be pretty football, but you know what it is going to be? It's going to be fucking effective football. Like, what David Moyes does has never been attractive, but it fucking works. And it's working right now, too. And it's, yeah, they've lost 2 on the bump, but those 2 on the bump were to fucking Liverpool and Manchester City. Like, if you're going to lose 2 on the bump, those are the 2 to fucking lose, right? And for Liverpool, it's odd because last week, midfield looked completely confused, no idea what the fuck they were doing. This week, midfield looked fucking brilliant. I'm still bewildered. It is, Rob, how much of a Liverpool have you gotten to see this season with this, like, I mean, literally completely new midfield?
Yeah, I'd also like to say I think a lot of even Liverpool fans had started to question Salah a little bit, and it is very apparent that he is the all creator, and he's been ridiculously effective this year already. So I think those questions can start to tamp down a little bit. But yeah, I totally agree. They are. I'm not going to say they're back to where they were 3-4 years ago, but they're going to be a top 4 contender, no doubt.
I think they're absolutely a top 4 side, and I think they're one of those teams that'll be in the discussion for a while before City runs away with it, you know. But they'll be in the discsion. They will be. They
and I just hope my
be.
boys can stay away from that kind of fight.
Yeah, right. It's I think 2 and 3 are it's a battle between Arsenal and Liverpool. Yeah. I really do that. Now that's not. It's in unless of course in 2 weeks you beat City, then it's a completely different conversation. It's a very different conversation. But at this point, even if Liverpool doesn't get it right, they still find ways to fucking win. So that's as long as you're getting the results, that's all that really matters, right? And then finally, allow me to say the following. Schär played 90 minutes. Livramento played 20 minutes. Tonali played 20 minutes. Barnes played 12. And Hall played 9. It is easier for me to say those 5 players than the remaining players who scored either a goal or had an assist in this fucking game. 8 different goal scorers for Newcastle.
Yeah, I watched this game live, and it was just so apparent. They were on different galaxies of football quality.
They didn't score the first goal till like the 20th fucking minute.
Yeah.
Like, Sheffield had chances. It was and then no.
Nope.
No.
Is it bad that I felt embarrassed for Sheffield at all?
It was just God. It was. I mean, again, it's no Southampton twice, but it's. Boys, do we think Heckenbottom's the first to go?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm starting to think so. Like, he was very vocal after the Tottenham match about how the officiating was for everything. And this is in your building, man.
Last name is Hecking Bottom. Like, what are we doing here?
Now, see, that is one of those kind of lowbrow quality jokes that Mr. Graham would really appreciate.
Sure money.
All right. Well, I know I hit, and I also know Mr. Graham hit, which I'm sure in his email will have all that lovely little bits for it. Mel, if you're going to let Hiram read Kitty the Chicken, hand it to him, but don't hand it to him right until the moment of impact. We like him to...
Oh, no, just put it on the nuts.
That's right. Can of nuts. Can of nuts chasing your Malört with fucking teriyaki jerky. That's what's popping in the streets.
Fuck yeah.
And that's how Chelsea fans roll.
All right. So I hit again. That's 2 in a row. That's called a winning streak. It's been known to happen before. Hiram, that's a movie I'm quoting, and it's a movie that probably was out before you were born.
It's possible, yeah.
And if Rob doesn't know this movie, I'll be very disappointed.
I'm not good at this.
No. I'm going to tell you the movie, and
Okay.
I know you know. It's from Major League.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know that movie.
You know what?
But I
Oh, you
am
know
now.
the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am now up $378.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Rob, did you know that 40% of the time it works
every
100%
time,
of the time, baby?
40%.
Yeah. How about that? It's much better than the normal, like,
Lowering the bar.
11% I'm normally at. I think I'm like 2 away from matching my win total of last year, which also the 2 I currently have is more than any that Sam had last year because he went 0 for 37. So this week I am doing a 4-way parlay of favorites. I am taking City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and West Ham all to win at plus 274. Not going anything too crazy. Just try to keep staying in the black. So do we have Pat with us? Awesome.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
So, Patty, tell me your opinions on Notre Dame.
What, rushing fucking 3 guys on 2nd and 17? Wow, you're going all the way back to that?
Yeah. Oh, I just
like Saturday. I'd already forgotten about that.
well, I just like to remind you of tough losses, and and when I say tough losses, everybody, I mean tough losses in the wallet, not tough losses on the game.
I didn't even have a bet on that game, and I felt bad.
I mean, it's fucking 2nd and 17. Why are you rushing 3 guys and just letting them pick apart your defense? That's fucking ridiculous, man. I lost so much money on that fucking game, and then, well, whatever. It is.
So how did you fare?
What do you mean?
For the
Always gold.
Didn't you pick
Always.
Spurs to win, right? So you missed on that, right?
No. I picked something weird. It was a 2-1. They had to win by 2-1, 3-1, or 4-1, and I would have won. It was like plus 900 or something.
Oh, okay, got it. So you missed.
It was like an exact score. So
right.
Once Arsenal went up 2 goals, that was dead.
Okay, so what are you sitting at now? What's your spot in the money?
Minus 100.
Minus 100. Okay, very good. So what you got? What do you got?
You're doing pretty good.
I'm doing all right, but Graham hit his bet, so he's going to be ahead of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going to be ahead of me. That's all right. He'll do some fucking 9-game parlay and fuck it all off soon enough. So I'll be fine. I'll just
for like 5 straight weeks.
Right. You are right, precisely. So slow and steady wins the race. I'll be okay. Yeah. I'll be perfectly fine. What do you got for us this week?
All right. Well, I'm going along the same lines as you. I'm going to do a favorite parlay as well, but I'm going 5 games. So I'm going to pick United, Everton, Newcastle, West Ham, and City on a $100 bet that nets me $4.90.
Okay, very good, very good.
I played my fucking Everton bet, like I said in the end of my email last week, and I would have won. I called that one.
Yep. We can't give you credit for it because it's not an official bet, but it is worth saying. You did say in your email, you said Brentford was going to lose to Everton. You said it was going to be Everton's first win of the season, and you called that. I was toying with the notion of fucking around with the Everton Luton game and adding that into a bet, but I just didn't want to put that juju over my team's head and just guarantee Luton's first win of the year would be at Goodison by me betting on it. So I stayed away from it. So we're okay there.
Going back to Saturday, it's just like I knew Oregon was going to whoop Colorado's ass, but did I put any money on that game? No, of course not. Of course I didn't put money on that game. I put money on whatever.
All right, Pat, great to hear from you again. I know it's been a little bit of a wonky schedule, so it's awesome to have you back on again.
Baseball, I got kids and sports and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I'll be on a lot more regular.
All right, so just one last thing, Pat, don't bet on your kids' sports, okay?
Good.
All right, we'll talk next week, brother. Be good.
All right, see ya.
Alrighty, Mel, what do you got for Mr. Graham's bet?
All right. So Graham says, I'm up now, 886. I might stay away since it's my best, Graham. I don't know what I'm doing here. Rob's
I think
like,
it sounds spot on, right? Yeah.
Totally. Keep it going.
I may stay away since it seems to be more profitable than being on the pod. It's laughing faces with the crying emoji, so I figured that's what it sounded like. Anyway.
I mean, because Graham's a comedic fucking genius.
Here's a high five since my last victory. City over Wolves, Newcastle over Burnley, Arsenal over Bournemouth, West Ham over Sheffield, and Everton over Luton pays a whopping plus 529 on pretty damn straightforward results in my book. I like it.
I like that picture you're putting up there, Hiram. That's fucking brilliant.
Oh, absolutely.
Now
I can't forget to love this face.
What sucks there is he took the exact same bet as fucking Pat, and it's the exact same bet I have minus Everton Luton. Fuck all of you for putting that in the universe.
But what did the chicken pick?
I'm sorry, going back. Luton's first win's going to be against Everton now.
It's going to be against Everton, honey.
Oh, fuck.
You got to close Goodison out the right way.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna. How do I place money? Because I'm gonna place money on. Never mind. Let's do the chicken.
Go get him, stud.
All right, back at it again with another one. Kitty lost the second in a row, and now she is at 2-3. So I visited Kitty in the coop and gave her Burnley hosting Luton. Kitty showed me a picture of her hanging out at the Super Bowl party with Snoop Dogg and JJ Watt. That's a weird combination, but all right. She also assumed I would be reading this so quickly that she could slide in the fact that JJ... Huh? So she could slide in the fact that JJ left supporting Chelsea to go, oh, fuck off. That'll be an honor of Burnley. That coupled with Snoop being a clarinet too means she is picking Burnley to get their first win of the season. Please remember to gamble legally and responsibly.
Perfectly done, sir. Perfectly done. All right.
I hate it here.
Fucking masterclass.
That is grade A trolling, Mr. Houston.
Well, see, Kitty's ghostwriter had a conversation with Kitty, and Kitty said definitely slip the jab in there and slide in a sentence and just see if Hiram reads it cold. And it worked out all right.
Dude, I would have fucking read it word for word.
No, I did. I just took a shock at it.
I love it happening to somebody else.
Last week when we gave it to him, it was about 5 sentences. I think he read it in a half a second. So that's why I slipped it in there, because I just figured he'd be reading so fast he'd read it and he wouldn't even register in his head, and he would just like wait till he was done and go, oh wait, he made a jab at Chelsea. Oh boys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Hiram, any parting words?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
That and this.
Yeah, thanks.
But no, in serious note, yes, of course, if you guys aren't aware, I'm also with the Naptown Fancast. So if you guys haven't heard that, along with me and Big Sam, please go check that out. We already wrapped up our first season, so we'll probably be having some stuff in the works for the off season, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
but
we got some stuff planned.
Definitely go check that out. If you also want to hear some shenanigans from the young hip crowd, I guess, as Sam wants to call it.
Young hot freshness.
Young hot freshness. I'm sorry.
It really does.
My young ears fucking it up.
It really does be like that.
Be grown and listen, motherfucker.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to be grown and pay these bills. All right, so definitely go check out my other podcast.
So your elders is appalling.
Where do you think I learned it from?
I learned it from you, Dad.
But yeah, if you guys definitely want to check out some young shenanigans, come check out my podcast along with me and two of my other 20-year-old friends. Show called Really Be Like That. Check us out. And I'm also thinking about starting a sports podcast, all sports all together. So
fantastic.
Definitely check that out. I'll probably be doing some streaming with that as well. So I'll probably have Big Sam as there on the guest. I'll probably have Rob as there on there as a guest as well. So
yeah, I love it.
Check it out. I'll probably be starting that in October. It'll be called Time Man United. It's basically just a play on both my parents' name. I put it together. Tania, Damien, Time Man.
I like it.
Yeah.
It works. Perfect.
So definitely go check that out.
Robbie, any parting words at all?
Nope.
Very good. Well, then I'll steal your second for just a moment. Spain Soccer Federation. Seriously, fuck you. Like, okay, so you got rid of the coach, the head stepped down, and here it is, an opportunity for goodwill. Your players have been through a little bit, just a fucking little bit. They still managed to win you a World Cup. Unlike other national teams, in Spain particularly, and this applies to both the men and the women, you are not allowed to turn down duty. If you turn down duty, you can be expelled. And you would think right after the World Cup, right after they've won, right after all the bullshit they've been through, maybe they don't want to answer questions. Maybe they don't want to sit in press conferences. Maybe they don't want to fucking play. Maybe they just want to be happy that they won a World Cup and not have to deal with the fucking circus that's been going on around them. But no, you made them all show up. None of them answered questions. They all looked sad. They looked like the ladies they looked upset. You should be fucking enjoying what you're doing. You're a professional footballer. You're a professional footballer that just won the most prestigious trophy in the world. And you just look defeated. And that's not their fault. That's the fucking Spanish Federation's fault. Take a look at yourselves for a second and understand you've got fucking human beings here. They're not just machines. And let them fucking recover from all this bullshit. Same thing, if this was the men and this kind of bullshit was going on, you should do it. It's just, it's so fucking aggravating. And it just seems like every step Spain takes is just to kind of fuck over these ladies. And it's like, a lot of times you feel like, maybe it's just a bit too much. Maybe everybody's overplaying it. In this case, we're not. Like, they're just assholes. They're fucking assholes. Like, just, God, please, can you just let these fucking ladies get a moment's fucking rest from all the bullshit that happened and let them be happy about winning a fucking World Cup? God. D-back. Just please, Spanish Soccer Federation, don't be a fucking cunt. Please, just stop it. It's not that fucking hard. With all that being said, next up is Injury Time, where we're going to talk about the beers we've been drinking. We'll go ahead and check in on our adopted club Hibernian, talk a little fantasy, and preview the next week's action. Should somebody want to find Injury Time, Mel, how do they go about doing it?
Well, you can look at patreon.com/DU Football Show, but let's be honest, you're not going to do that. So just scroll right now. Take your little finger, hit the follow button if you haven't already done that, hit the like button, the subscribe button, whatever it is, and then keep going and you'll see link to our show, the DU Drip Shack, our Patreon, all of our socials. So yeah, check us out, come find us, be obsessed.
Couldn't have done it better myself, my dear.
Well, that's why you have me.
If only you were paying attention to the point of the show where I was talking about all the people who didn't score.
Hey, guess what? That part doesn't exist right now.
Until next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right, the fucking Gooner Graham. Smells of Malört. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Brown.
Brooklyn United! Brooklyn United! Hit the fucking mute button!